Hello there. I was up on my roof this morning putting some sealant in on the chimney stack, and as I was coming back down, I managed to crack a roof tile, so I was a bit worried about getting a replacement tile. And there's rain expected tomorrow. I went up to a nearby roofing shop, and I was very gratified to see 200 tiles right by the gate, which were a perfect match. So I picked one up and cycled back down, and, feeling quite charged, because I'm doing things that I've never done before. There's a real masculine energy about it. Back in the day when I used to play football, you play and you turn and you wheel to the right and you swivel to the left and you chase and you jockey, and then an opening comes and you shoot through the gap. It's like the lightning. That is man energy. You wait for that moment, bang. And you can only learn that through the confrontation, through the struggle, through being in the situation again and again and again. You feel it. You feel it almost before it comes. I don't know how women do things. I was cycling back down and I was thinking, well, women aren't really like that. Like in the chase between men and women aren't really like that. Women are more like the seasons. It's like they're changing, like the moon, and occasionally there's an opening, and then it closes. Women are very sensitive like that. Sometimes they are aware of their own timing, and they will make things happen. They will, with their friends, create situations when they're at the moment, when they can be touched. Gurdjieff said that women were a completely different design to men. If there are women who can sense what's going on inside of them, then that sensing comes from a higher place. So we're dealing with different layers of our life. And as I said last week, our goal is to become real men, to rise up to the top of the octave. And although we may work above or below, inside or outside, we're trying to help this ship get into harbour. We're not trying to leave the ship, we're not trying to betray traditional life, we're not trying to reverse things or prove ourselves or be different. Not at all. We're trying to be in the centre. But we have some skill to work slightly outside of it. A very interesting teacher that I know, Scott Meredith, he teaches some internal arts. He said that in your life, you're sort of fixed in a certain position. There are things above you and there are things beneath you. And you can't really attack the things above you because they are above you. But your engagement with the downstream forces, it is there that you can develop skill and being. As your being grows with the engagement with the downstream current, that is how you rise up. And all this is real doing, as Gurdjieff meant. Gurdjieff did not use magic words. For him, doing was making an omelette, building a wall, and running a business. Because our society is in a state of complete explosion, society, the voices on the internet, often seem like all the shudras in hyperspace that you're listening to. And actually the real work comes more from the other side, when you close the door, like the Amish or the Jews or the Catholics of old, and you follow a line. You stay with your people, you go into your river, and you deepen the roots. And the deeper the roots, the taller the tree. Yesterday I was listening to the story of the CIA, how for the last 75 years they have done absolutely everything to kill Europe. To destroy European civilization, European economy, European culture, to destroy the entire legacy of European culture. That is what the CIA has been doing. They have employed hundreds of thousands of people You know who was on the payroll? Jackson Pollock, Saul Bellow, even George Orwell was involved with them. So many of these academics, intellectuals, historians, journalists, they even introduced the black music into the West in order to introduce a new vibration that was at a much lower level so that America can be free, you know? What is this American freedom? Julius Caesar, from the Roman Empire, he was a great general. He traveled around Europe at that time. He fought many wars. He was there as a man with a cape and a horse and a sword on the front line. He was a strong, strong man. He was known for sleeping on the ground with his troops. He was a great general. They built beautiful things. They had a beautiful culture. They had a message for the world, a message coming from the sun, right? A message that meant something. And where is the American message? There is nothing. What are we going to do? Ride around on the plains shooting Indians and then go and have a hamburger? There was one guy who was in charge of the CIA for a long time. I don't want to blame people. Let's have a look at how crazy this is. This guy was born a Catholic. And whilst he was at the CIA, he turned to atheism and then, destroyed all these countries, ruined the lives of hundreds of millions of people. And then just before he died, he became a Catholic again. Very convenient, isn't it? As for pushing abstract art and black jazz music into Europe, the CIA originally did this in order to find the left-wingers in America that they wanted to get rid of. So they sort of promoted these black concerts in order to see who would respond to it, and then you would know they were left-winger, because they wanted to get rid of left-wingers. But it kind of spiraled out of control until it became their whole culture. Julius Evola wrote some fantastic essays on American culture. Evola says, "The Americans' open-mindedness, which is sometimes cited in their favour, is the other side of their interior formlessness. The same goes for their individualism. Individualism and personality are not the same. The one belongs to the formless world of quantity, the other to the world of quality and hierarchy." There is a popular notion about the United States that it is a young nation with a great future before it. Apparent American defects are then described as the faults of youth or growing pains. It is not difficult to see that the myth of progress plays a large part in this judgment. According to the idea that everything new is good, America has a privileged role to play among civilized nations. The structure of history, however, is cyclical, not evolutionary. It is far from being the case that the most recent civilizations are necessarily superior. They may be, in fact, senile and decadent. Assuming there would be a need for frenzied rhythms in the mechanical and materialistic soullessness of modern civilization, America would have done much better to look to the many sources available in Europe, which often have something truly Dionysian. But America has chosen to imitate the blacks and the Afro-Cubans, and then from America the contagion has gradually spread to all other countries. And by the way, actual black people are as patriarchal and have as much love for their people as anybody else. Gurdjieff said, "All octaves will devolute back down to do, unless they reach the next octave." And that is a heavy statement by Gurdjieff. That is a very heavy statement. We see that the international community is very keen to bring European living standards to the second world. And people in Botswana or Indonesia, or wherever it may be, have got not the slightest hope in hell to become like European people, who are like eagles, who have been the top of this planet for a very long time. Why? Western Catholicism. You know why? Because Catholicism, like Orthodoxy, puts higher forces into the mouth and therefore relieves you of the need to understand anything. It is a path that from the outside gives you what you need to evolve. It's quite incredible, and in my opinion, that is the only way humanity as a whole can evolve, from the outside. Humanity as a whole can evolve only through the communion, the Eucharist, from the apostolic line, or the cosmic forces will evolve them, probably downwards. The other thing is, because the priests are taking the responsibility for evolving you, it no longer really requires a nation or the tribalism that, for instance, Judaism, Islam, and Hinduism need. So you see this shallow copying of the exterior, and actually what it means is the breakup of Indonesian culture, the breakup of Malaysian culture. These places are being destroyed by the influx of not Western culture, but the American hamburger dollars. It's not Western culture. Western culture is a river of light like all true cultures. America is the hand of entropy. As the eons have carried through, the time is up, and whoever's on top gets to eat the whole world. Something like that. So we are really at the end of a great cycle. And so what we see in this world, and this is an image that I had, we see trees that do not actually go down to the ground. They're things that grow, but only from the outer canopy. It's like just the flowers. And it doesn't descend into the earth. Because anything that descends into the earth is a bridge between heaven and earth, and is correctly rooted and becomes a true line of work. And, Jesus talked about how the seed must go down deep into the soil, how many obstacles there were. And this is very important. In practical terms, whatever projects that you have, whether they're economic or married, they have to evolve beautifully and create a journey. A journey. And the more you can do that, the more whole you will be. And take it down into the soil. And as that tree grows and slowly perfects itself, it starts shining. It starts shining with the objective light. Because the objective light comes into this world through these unique rivers, this unique work of the people of the earth. Let's hear from A.R. or Raj. Why is a dog always a dog? Why does it behave like a dog? Why does it not behave, as we would say, reasonably? It behaves as it does because it is obliged to be what it is, whatever the outcome. It is indifferent to whether it is rising or falling in the scale, to whether it is multiplying or becoming extinct. It is innocent, essential. Mineral, vegetable, animal obey the law of their species. All bow their head under the yoke which God in his wisdom imposes. From them there is no evil in our meaning of the word, no need of psychological effort. Their species is fixed. Man is fixed externally, but psychologically has in him every species. He can be on occasion a mouse, a dog, a lion. Observe yourself and your friends. Man is the note C in the octave. This note is precarious. It is a state of responsibility, an octave in which man can go either up the scale or down. Can the effort be made by which he will ascend into the next higher octave? This is the terror of the situation, for if the effort is not made, man may go down, and may degenerate like the ants and the bees. Man is the first biological species to occupy this crucial point in the octave, and his cosmic function is to cooperate in the plan imposed on the universe by the Creator. Beautiful words from Orage, but it's clear to me that his understanding is limited. For instance, he says that man is fixed externally, by which he means that spirituality involves going beyond ordinary life, when actually Gurdjieff's whole message is that our ordinary life has lost contact with reality, and that it is the ordinary life that should be magical. And then he talks about the effort and responsibility we need to make to go up the octave. But we should know from the law of three that affirming only does not work. Anyway, let me try to talk about Concorde. Concorde was an amazing plane, a beautiful symbol of the power of Europe. There was power, there was beauty, there was spirit, there was hope, there was everything, and it was European. It was beautiful. Beautiful. But one day, there was an accident, and I'm sure you've seen photos of a big fire coming out of one of the wings. It was a shock and it became symbolic. And people loved that symbol. Now, I'm not like that. I've learned to survive in very difficult situations. And I always wondered, how could that have been survived? So I spent a long time digging through the crash reports. And the answer is simple. That plane did not go down because there was a fire on the wing. That's not why all the people died. The flight engineer, who was number 3 in the cockpit, panicked and switched off one of the engines as the plane was taking off, and so it didn't have enough speed. It was completely against procedure, the plane didn't have enough speed, and it stalled. When it stalled, it fell to the ground and everybody died. They didn't die because there was a fire in the wing. In fact, if the engineer had looked at his dials, he would have seen that tank 5 was draining fast, and he could have isolated it with one switch. And it's estimated that at the rate of emptying, that tank would have been dry in 90 seconds. And the plane was going 300 miles an hour, so all the flames were pushed back. And after 90 seconds, they would have suddenly vanished and left a small line of black smoke. And the plane would have been fine. And directly ahead was a second airport, Le Bourget, and the plane could have simply landed there within 5 minutes. And there was no reason to cancel the program. But the shock value, somehow people love that shock. They love to play the violin. I have communicated this simple fact with a large number of airline enthusiasts and engineers, and the conversation always gets shut down in about 5 minutes. They seem to need the shock value as the outside goes around faster. So they sort of feel themselves a bit more, the more drama there is. And it was exactly the same with the Titanic. There were many options, in fact. There was, for instance, the USS California, a large ship that was within visual range on a clear night. But they froze and started telling sad stories, and so they died. Because the overall web of human beings will take you down, the most important thing on the path is that there is a path, and that you come under the will of one school, one line of work, one man, and that will take you out of the world mind. Okay, that's it for this week. You all take care.
away from me. Where are you when the sun goes down? So far away from me. Everybody's singing. So far away from me. Yeah, so far I just can't see. So far away from me. You're so far.
That's very nice, very nice.